by 1918, when Elgar wrote his violin sonata, musical life was moving on, and he recognised that. I mean, it's amazing to think that that piece was written 5 years after the Rite of Spring. And so Elgar's language, harmonic language, was very entrenched in Romanticism, and he just wasn't interested in what was happening in terms of what Stravinsky was coming up with, or the Second Viennese School. So actually he wrote to the dedicatee of this piece and warned her not to expect anything that would move us forward. Don't expect anything cubist. But he said that this piece was full of golden sounds, and I like it. And actually Philip is a very similar story, because in 1969, when he was at the Guildhall, he was always interested in composition, and was writing quite a lot at the time for friends, but wrote in a style that was completely out of fashion at the time. And so part of the attraction to his violin sonata was the fact that he was essentially bucking the trend. You know, he was really just compelled to write in a way that he was discouraged to write. I mean, this was a time where staves and time signatures and all of the conventional building blocks of music were very much frowned upon as tools of composition in contemporary music. So the connection between the Elgar and the Sawyers, I suppose, is just that both were composers who were compelled to write in a very individual harmonic language that was completely at odds with the musical world around them.
I was looking for a new violin, and it's one of those long chores that actually many violinists go through and trying to find a new violin. But a colleague of ours has also got one of these violins. It's by a maker called Glenn Collins, who lives in Nottingham. And when I heard him play his violin, I was completely bowled over by it and just thought, okay, what's this? And he suggested I get myself to go and see Glenn Collins, who had just finished making one. And I literally fell in love with it completely straight away. He's an English maker at the very top end of English making. He actually teaches himself in the Newark School of violin making. And I mean, he let me borrow it for 3 months, so it's, you know, you're really building a relationship with the violin. But I mean, I love the idea that this was an English disc that we made with the English violin. And it's just, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. It's got so many rich colours, and almost instantly, I mean, the varnish was barely dry when I went to go and pick it up for the first time, and he strummed the strings, and I just went, oh, wow, what's that? And so, yeah, I mean, it really was love at first sight. And when I took it away, I played it to loads of different people, and everyone just went, you've got to buy this violin. It's literally, it's meant for you. Philip's music it definitely did stretch me. I mean, it's wonderfully challenging in terms of the structure and the phrasing, but also just the colours that are needed within Philip's music. It's not one level, it's so many different levels, and you have to find those colours to make that music really come alive. And it's all there in the notes and in the dots. He's got a very clear image in his mind of how he wants the music to sound. But I hope that we even took that further, and I think we played it through to him. It was sort of a private performance because we wanted some feedback. And we turned to him at the end to say, how was that? And he just literally looked completely awestruck and said, did I write that? Did I, you know? And he said, you guys have just made it sound so incredible. And he was so happy with how it came out. And so that for us was a really special moment.